ultimately, the radical left is coming after all of us because they know that our allegiance is not to them. Our allegiance is to our country, and our allegiance is to our Creator. They don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that. How any Christian can vote for a Democrat, Christian or person of faith, how you can vote for a Democrat is crazy. It's crazy. They've got to stop. They've got to stop because it's hard. You know, we have to really go out on November 5th, and we have to get votes like nobody ever got before because they always cheat. We have some great safeguards, a lot of things. The last time, well, we won one that we weren't supposed to win. They went crazy, and they decided to do things that they shouldn't be doing. And we were somewhat unsuspecting, and they did something that really has set back our country tremendously. But we're going to get votes. I will tell you, we did phenomenally in 2016. We won. We did much better in 2020. We got millions and millions of more votes. And we got scammed. And the enthusiasm was probably the likes of which nobody's ever seen in an election in this country for both of them. The enthusiasm for this election coming up in November is far greater than it was in 2016 or 2020. Far greater. It's not even a contest. I've never seen anything like it. Even coming over here, everybody has a Trump sign. Trump, Trump, Trump. And, unfortunately, we're still 9 months away, a little more than 9 months away. And the sad part is that the incompetence of this man and this administration can do tremendous damage in 9 months. And it's a long time, 9 months sounds like it's short, and it, politically speaking, is pretty short. It's not a long period. But the damage they do is just overwhelming, what they're allowing to happen to our country. What they cannot stand is that, in the end, we do not answer to bureaucrats in Washington. We answer to God in heaven. We do. We answer to God in heaven. So today I come before you as a friend and an ally and a fellow believer to ask for your help and your support and your prayers for this country. We need your prayers, most importantly. And I make you a simple promise. In my first term, I fought for Christians harder than any president has ever done before. You know that. You know that. And I will fight even harder for Christians with 4 more years in the White House. We did things that the likes of which nobody has ever done for Christians in this country, and I'm very proud of that and honored by it. Just think of what, with God's help, we already achieved in our historic first term. Just a few of the things under my leadership and working with you and a lot of the great people in the room. Jack, thank you very much, by the way. You see you sitting there. Everyone knows who I'm talking about. Thank you very much. Great job. And so many others. Under my leadership, we did more to uphold religious freedom than any administration in history, and everybody agrees. So, Robert, I guess you were right, weren't you, huh? We fearlessly protected the conscience rights of doctors, nurses, teachers, and faith groups like the Little Sisters of the Poor. We fought very hard alongside of them, and we had some incredible results. I blocked the IRS from using the Johnson Amendment to interfere with pastors' freedom of speech. And Joe Biden is trying to take it back. He's trying to take it away. They used that. I'll never forget, I was in New York in Trump Tower. It was 2015. I had probably 45 pastors, some rabbis, but we had people of faith and teachers of faith and very people I want to hear from. And I said, I'd love to have your endorsement. And they looked a little bit like bewildered, because I didn't know what the hell. I never ran for office before. Now I'm running for president and I'm leading. And I say, I want to have your endorsement. And they said, no, I don't. We just can't do that. I'm wondering, because they had come up 2 or 3 times. We got along great. We all agreed on just about everything. But when I said, I'd love to have your endorsement, the room went sort of silent. And I called one of them over and I said, what's wrong? I don't understand. Why wouldn't you endorse me? I mean, the person you're talking about, and you could go either way, whether it's Biden or Hillary Clinton. I don't use the word crooked, for I took that word away from her and I put it now on Biden. I call her now beautiful Hillary. She's a beautiful woman. But I said, why aren't they endorsing me? I'm so much better. I mean, I don't want to brag, but I am so much for what you are all about, and what you're about is the most important thing. They said, sir, we're not allowed to. We have a thing called the Johnson Amendment. I never heard of that. I said, what is it? Well, if we openly support somebody, politically, we could lose everything. They'll take away, we have a tax-exempt status. They'll take that away. Churches will be devastated, will be devastated. I said, I never knew that. This was Lyndon Johnson, very powerful president, actually, powerful guy. He knew how to get things done, and he had a problem with, I guess they say, a pastor in Houston or Dallas, big problem. And he did this. He put this horrible rule into effect, and it was a very strong rule. And I said, so, and we were on the 68th floor of Trump Tower, and we're looking down on Fifth Avenue. I said, so that means that any person down there has equal power to you people, and you're the people that everybody wants to listen to, but you're not allowed to back that up because you need some political strength. They said, essentially, that's right. We can't really do anything because we'll lose tax-exempt status and other things. And I said, that's too bad. I said, if I get in, we are going to totally void out the Johnson Amendment, and I was able to do that. We voided it out, and you were able to speak because you're the people that I want to hear from and that other people want to hear from, and you're not allowed to speak. And you should be allowed. If you see somebody that believes in Christianity, if you see somebody that loves evangelicals or Israel, which has become more and more prominent in your thoughts and your prayers, you should be able to vote and to promote the person that's backing the ideas that you love and cherish and are very important. So I thought it was the most ridiculous thing. Anyway, we got rid of it, and people took a much more active stance, and that's great. And we're going to do it again, and we're going to get it out now permanently. We were putting it in the tax, but we had tremendous bite back on that. But for 4 years, we went through a great period. You were able to speak, and we're going to make that on a permanent basis. You're going to be able to do it because you're the people we want to hear from, the pastors and the ministers and the rabbis. The people in this room are the people we want to hear from, and they have to have a political voice. You know, if you think about it, you have men, you have women, and you have religion. If you look at it, you have more than the men, you have more than the women. You have such power, but you weren't allowed to use that power, and you're now allowed to use it. I get in there, you're going to be using that power at a level that you've never used it before. It's going to bring back the churchgoer. I mean, you have to see, I don't like the charts. When I see charts where they're going in the wrong direction, we don't like that. We're going to bring it back, and I really believe it's the biggest thing missing from this country. It's the biggest thing missing. We have to bring back our religion. We have to bring back Christianity in this country. Thank you. Thank you very much. I issued guidance making clear that the right of freedom to worship does not end at the door at a public school, and I supported school prayer, very important, school prayer, which we unfortunately had to force into some schools. It should be very easy. You would think it would be very easy, but it wasn't, but we did it. I was the first and only president to convene a meeting of the United Nations to end religious persecution worldwide. First time they've ever done it. They were not thrilled, but that was okay. They did it. I signed an executive order to install faith advisors in every federal department and agency so that your voice and the Christian worldview would be heard in the halls of power in Washington and all over the world. It was a very big deal. Very proud of it. Wasn't that easy to do, you know that. 4 years, we totally transformed the federal bench, appointing nearly 300 federal judges to interpret the law and the Constitution as written, a record, 300. I withstood vicious attacks to pick and confirm 3 great Supreme Court justices. The great justices, great people. They're great people. Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, Amy Coney Barrett. Nobody thought that was going to even be possible. We fought. This was not an easy thing to do. From my first day in office, I took historic action to protect the unborn, like nobody has ever done. Nobody has ever done it. Thank you. I reinstated and expanded the Mexico City policy. Ronald Reagan didn't do it. Nobody did it. Nobody did it like us, and was the first president ever to attend the March for Life rally in Washington, D.C. It was a great honor. And I was able to bring this issue for the first time in 54 years back to the states where everybody agrees on both sides. Everybody agrees that's where it should be, back in the states. It was so important. Everybody on both sides. And they are the radicals. Remember this. They try and paint a picture of disinformation, misinformation, almost the same, but actually not quite. But we won't go into that. But it's disinformation. And they try and paint a picture because they're willing to kill the unborn in the 6th and 7th and 8th and 9th months, and even after birth. I mean, even after birth. You remember the governor, that former governor of Virginia, that said the baby will be born and we will decide to kill the baby after birth. We will make a decision with the mother. This is the first time I heard that, but there is legislation in some states where you actually have the right to do that. So they're the radicals. You're not the radicals. We're not the radicals. They're the radicals. And you have to say that. Politicians have to say that. Because nobody believes that after a certain period of time, nobody believes that you should be doing this. It's like 97% agree. We also have to remember that we have to have people elected. So some things that you feel and you have to go with your heart, you have to stay with that. You have to stay with your heart. But you have to get elected. You have to get people elected. But what a difference a president makes. You saw that during my term. What a difference a president makes. So big. Bigger than anything else.